work it, make it, do it. Makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
That don't kill me, can only make us stronger.
But the lads don't play solely to win a trophy. Like I say, there's only one team going to win the grand final. There's only one team, well, it could be one team that wins them both this year, or same as last year. But like I said, there's only one group there, so you've always got to have something to play for. And they've not played this game since there was probably 6 or 7, most of these lads, without having a little bit of an edge about what they want to do, and that's they want to win, they want to perform. And what we try to build on it, and they always do, is like the outcomes, something that you're not in control of. You control your own performance. And at the moment, like I said, maybe it's a little bit like an anxiety, but we went there, and as we have done all year, with a real desire to be the best team we could possibly be and to win. And whether it's to be in the top 4, to be in the grand final, I think that's the learning curve, and being able to turn up every single week like that. You can think about it, you can talk about it, but actually doing it, that's what separates that top 4 sides, those top 2 or 3 sides at this moment in time. Turn up every single week and performing.
And this win really was all about attitude, wasn't it? Because with the ball, you can be a lot better than that, can't you?
We can't. Well, we had opportunities. Like I say, we scored the first couple of tries were fantastic. Like I say, and we had other opportunities as well with the ball. We were quite close on their line a couple of times. When we had a fair share of the ball, we had a real good attacking threat. Our line breaks were far outweighed theirs. Our skill wasn't great, but like I say, the purpose we had and how we wanted to play was there with the ball. We surrendered it too easily at times when we gave penalties away, and then, like I said, just lack of field position that just made it too hard for us. And then that conversion from defence to attack when you've got no energy and you're coming out of your 30, it's hard work. And we didn't like it in their half. I think like John Mellor showed that when he decided not to kick the ball to touch and kick it back to him to keep them playing in our half. We just didn't like it in their half in the second half. But that inability with the ball in the second half was more the fact that we were just dead in our feet from defending.
Some great defensive efforts, and Corey Thompson gets headlines, doesn't he, generally for scoring tries. I think he's still second, in the try scorers list. But I thought defensively, smartly, and in terms of his tackling as well, he was really good.
He was. He's like I say, and that's the thing with Corey all year. He's just kept adding layers to his game. He's played a couple of games at fullback, and defensively he's made some poor decisions at times, but he's just finding that balance between when he gets off the line. And I thought what you saw on the weekend was, like say, a high quality overall wingers game. Like I say, the 2 tries he scored, the try from the pass when he gets down and gets in the corner, trying from the catch and the kick and the footwork to get into the line. Like I say, those are the kind of things you can put him on par with the top 2 or 3 wingers in the competition with that kind of skill. And then what he added defensively put on another level to that. But across the team, I think it was the attitude across the team that filtered out to our edges, how well we defended around the ruck, what we did with our line speed. Our contact was really good at times. So, and I think it was more about that willingness to not be beaten. And we spoke about it in the week where we spoke about coming into the Wakefield game about what happened against Hull. It's like 2 or 3 of their tries. If we didn't want them to score, and I know it's a strength, they wouldn't have scored, and that's an attitude and a desire. It's not a great piece of skill where they've made people move and created space. It was down to if you really don't want them to score a try here, they don't score. I think that's what we carried into Thursday night.
And was the epitome of that, I suppose, was the try you saved when you were down to 11, when Marsh and Hanbury stopped, I think it was Sutton on the sideline.
You need a little bit of luck like that, and I think what Steph's got is like that little bit of pure speed from a standing start, and it would have been easy, and nobody would have looked at him or blamed him for anything in that. If they'd have gone through there and scored, we're down to 11 men. They've had a couple of sets on the back of us there as well, through a couple of other penalties on the back of that, and he could have stood up and went, yeah, we're going all right, fellas. Just be happy with the fact that we just keep doing what we're doing. Steph and Reece epitomise, like I say, the attitude that night was that if they're going to score against us, it's going to have to be right. They got some willing to really push hard to get it. I think it was a great defensive effort, wasn't it? I think on the back of a number from Corey and Steph, like you say, those two wingers putting that high quality actions in.
You conceded 20 penalties. Have you got a problem? Is there a reason for that, do you think, particularly?
I'm still waiting for a phone call from Steve Ganson. I've spoke to him. He was in France this weekend. I need to know why we're a 20 penalty team. I need him to reinforce that 20 to 9. Some of the high shots, they're just like I say, they're more fatigue than anything else. A couple of Chris Alstons, the Kevin Brown ones, they're just fatigue, like desperation tackles. There's nothing malicious or intent in some of the high shots. And yeah, you can see a couple of penalties in that because of the fatigue element. I'm not really sure of them. There's half a dozen of them in there that I'm seeing constantly in the game that aren't being given. Joe Miller's got a pretty sore jaw and a sore neck for a high shot that wasn't a penalty from a line break. Like I say, I was really happy with the start of the game when actually he penalised Ben Flower for something that Wigan are really good at, which is making them look messy with the way that they get hold of the player and what they're doing there. So I thought this could be a good night for us. Well, it was a good night anyway, but I thought he's on to the back of this, and then he didn't do it again. And there was 3 or 4 penalties in there where I think he got kidded. But you can talk, like, look, sometimes that happens in the game and it's just, like I said, the referee's got something in his mind and he gets, I say it's nothing malicious, no, he just gets on one because that's the nature of the game. And that night, yeah, and that's, Wigan make the ruck messy. And like I say, they complain about it when other people do to them, but that's what they do, they make the ruck messy. And we just had some bit of grit and determination in us on the weekend not to be stood over and not to be pushed about in that department.
Moving on to the Warrington game, how are you fixed for injury wise this week, Dennis? Everyone come out again?
The problem is we have Steph Marsh, probably won't play again this year, from landing in the hoardings. Like, he hit the boards at the beginning of the game and he did exceptionally well to get through the game. I think he's got a bit of cartilage problem, maybe even a slight tear in a ligament in his knee from hitting the boardings, getting his legs trapped under the boards. Other than that, everybody seems pretty good at the moment, touch wood. They've all come in and, like I say, that balance between how hard you play and how sore your body is and being injured is fine lines. And at the moment we might still have a little bit of soreness about us, but I think we pushed through it and looking for a good week this week.
Patrick Arvan's fit, is he?
Yeah, Patrick Arvan. Yeah, he'll train this morning. He's trained over the weekend. Had no problems with his back.
Warrington, another massive game, isn't it? Local derby. You've proved already this week that you're still up for the fight here. Warrington top of the league now as well, so they're going for the league leaders' shield.
I thought it was like I said, what they did after. I see you get that reaction where Hull got to St Helens, having celebrated most of the week and been on a high, and Warrington come out disappointed, but understand what kind of team they are and how much depth they've got. And to go to Catalan and get a win on the back of the Challenge Cup final defeat was an outstanding effort from a great team. And that's what we've got to do now, is go and be the team that we want to be on the weekend again, defend like we defended on the weekend and play. I say we've only got one thing to play for, and that's the fact that this is a Wigan versus Wigan, this is a Widnes versus Warrington derby, and these are always pretty passionate and lively affairs.
Some threat in that team. We don't know who's going to turn out for Warrington this week, do we? But there's some threat in that team, whoever, the likes of Darryl Clark, who I thought was close to man of the match at Wembley, and one or two others.
Well, yeah, we don't know who they're going to bring back. We don't know what the injuries were like from the final, how close Gidley is, how close Sando is, whether Clark was just rested. I think they've got, like in Jack Hughes and Ben Curry, they've got two of the real form strike back rowers in the competition at the moment, Ben Curry especially. I think Steph Ratchford's been absolutely outstanding on the quiet this year in a side that's been going really well. He's dangerous. The couple like the Dwyer and the young kid Patton are pretty good on the weekend as well. So it's exciting for our group of players as well at this moment. Like I said, you don't want dead rubbers, and it's not the fact that playing a derby and playing a big game, which means a lot to everybody. That's enough to get everybody ready to play.
the fans would certainly like to see Warrington given a poke in the eye, wouldn't they? Being Widnes fans, obviously, that's always important to them.
I can't control what the fans want. All I can do is try and control this team and get them out there and prepared. And I like I say, it's a derby, and I know how important over the last 4 or 5 years those bragging rights have been, and we've clawed our way into a position at this moment in time where these games are pretty close games.
Other than the 19 that you named last week, and we know you've lost Marsh, anyone likely to have a chance of getting into it?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
We are where we are. The great the work and Ted Chappell out and Ned Chamberlain and Ryan Higgs played particularly well for Whitehaven on the weekend as well, which is always pleasing as well. And they're clawing themselves back up the table on some good performances from some of our lads that are up there as well. So I know Jay's been taking the plaudits here, but like I say, all the way through, it's been pretty nip and tuck between him and Ted, and he just got the call. But he's going to Whitehaven at the moment and doing what he needs to do to keep himself in the frame.
Is Manic forward injured at the moment, Dennis?
No, he's injured. He's not injured. No, he's not injured. No, he's just him and McGrath flew the wire just to.
Didn't select them.
Didn't select him because, well, you see the way Jay played on the weekend. It's been wrong not to pick him just because he's only 20 years of age.
Thanks. Come here, Ashley.